Good morning. This is the Paradise Unicorn Priestess bringing you day 254 of A Course in Miracles, the Yin translation, where we use female words. This would be September 11th if you're starting at the new year. Beyond all idols. Idols are quite specific, but your will is universal, being limitless, and so it has no form, nor is content for its expression in the terms of form. Idols are limits. They are the belief that there are forms that will bring happiness, and that by limiting is all attained. It is as if you said, I have no need of everything. This little thing I want, and it will be as everything to me. And this must fail to satisfy because it is your will that everything be yours. Decide for idols, and you ask for loss. Decide for truth, and everything is yours. It is not form you seek. What form can be a substitute for God, the mother's love? What form can take the place of all the love in the divinity of God the child? What idol can make two of what is one? And can the limitless be limited? You do not want an idol. It is not your will to have one. It will not bestow on you the gift you seek. When you decide upon the form of what you want, you lose the understanding of its purpose. So you see your will within the idol, thus reducing it to a specific form. Yet this could never be your will, because what shares in all creation cannot be content with small ideas and little things. Behind the search for every idol lies the yearning for completion. Wholeness has no form because it is unlimited. To seek a special person or a thing to add to you, to make yourself complete, can only mean that you believe some form is missing. And by finding this, you will achieve completion in a form you like. This is the purpose of an idol, that you will not look beyond it, to the source of the belief that you are incomplete. Only if you had sinned could this be so, for sin is the idea you are alone and separated off from what is whole, and thus it would be necessary for the search for wholeness to be made beyond the boundaries of limits on yourself. It never is the idol that you want, but what you think it offers you, you want indeed, and have the right to ask for, nor could it be possible it be denied. Your will to be complete is but God's will, and this is given you by being hers. God knows not form. She cannot answer you in terms that have no meaning, and your will could not be satisfied with empty forms, made but to fill a gap that is not there. It is not this you want. Creation gives no separate person and no separate thing the power to complete the child of God. What idol can be called upon to give the child of God what she already has? Completion is the function of God's child. She has no need to seek for it at all. Beyond all idols stands her holy will to be but what she is. For more than whole is meaningless. If there were change in her, if she could be reduced to any form and limited to what is not in her, she would not be as God created her. What idol can she need to be herself? For can she give a part of her away? What is not whole cannot make whole, but what is really asked for cannot be denied. Your will is granted. Not in any form that would content you not, but in the whole, completely lovely thought God holds of you. Nothing that God knows not exists, and what she knows exists forever, changelessly. For thoughts endure as long as does the mind that thought of them, and in the mind of God there is no ending, nor a time in which her thoughts were absent or could suffer change. Thoughts are not born and cannot die. They share the attributes of their creator, nor have they a separate life apart from hers. The thoughts you think are in your mind, as you are in the mind which thought of you. And so there are no separate parts in what exists within God's mind. It is forever one, eternally united and at peace. Thoughts seem to come and go, yet all this means is that you are sometimes aware of them and sometimes not. An unremembered thought is born again to you when it returns to your awareness, yet it did not die when you forgot it. It was always there, but you were unaware of it. The thought God holds of you is perfectly unchanged by your forgetting. It will always be exactly as it was before the time when you forgot, and will be just the same when you remember. And it is the same within the interval when you forgot. The thoughts of God are far beyond all change and shine forever. They await not birth. They wait for welcome and remembering. The thought God holds of you is like a star, unchangeable in an eternal sky. So high in heaven is it set, that those outside of heaven know not it is there. Yet still and white and lovely will it shine through all eternity. There was no time it was not there, no instant when its light grew dimmer or less perfect ever was. Who knows the mother knows this light, for she is the eternal sky that holds it safe, forever lifted up and anchored sure. Its perfect purity does not depend on whether it is seen on earth or not. The sky embraces it and softly holds it in its perfect place, which is as far from earth as earth from heaven. It is not the distance nor the time that keeps this star invisible to earth, but those who seek for idols cannot know the star is there. Beyond all idols is the thought God holds of you, completely unaffected by the turmoil and the terror of the world, the dreams of birth and death that here are dreamed, the myriad of forms that fear can take. Quite undisturbed, the thought God holds of you remains exactly as it always was, surrounded by a stillness so complete no sound of battle comes remotely near. It rests in certainty and perfect peace. Here is your one reality kept safe, completely unaware of all the world that worships idols and that knows not God, in perfect sureness of its changelessness and of its rest in its eternal home. The thought God holds of you has never left the mind of its Creator, whom it knows as its Creator knows that it is there. Where could the thought God holds of you exist but where you are? Is your reality a thing apart from you, and in a world which your reality knows nothing of? Outside you there is no eternal sky, no changeless star, no reality. The mind of heaven's child in heaven is, for there the mind of mother and of child joined in creation, which can have no end. You have not two realities but one, nor can you be aware of more than one. An idol, or the thought God holds of you, is your reality. Forget not, then, that idols must keep hidden what you are, not from the mind of God, but from your own. The star shines still. The sky has never changed. But you, the holy child of God herself, are unaware of your reality. Today's text reading is quite clear that form is of no use to God. God can't even perceive it. That all form of all kinds is a limitation. It says that wholeness can have no form. Wholeness is unlimited. We are assured multiple times in A Course in Miracles that we will never be content with form. It will never ever satisfy us. We won't be satisfied with anything but our completion, and we hold that off when we entertain illusions of our sister, idols that obscure the truth, that we hold something against her. And A Course in Miracles says that the thing we hold against our sister is the thing we ourselves deep down believe that we did. So it all goes back to that. It all goes back to We feel like we did something terrible, and we're trying to cope with it as best we can by forgetting it, by projecting it out somewhere else outside of us, all these different things. And we are holding off our own completion by holding at arm's length all the rest of ourselves and perpetuating insanity, disconnection, disassociation. There are many spiritual traditions that believe that the reason why the universe exists is because God wanted to split herself in order to know herself and to explore and examine what she is and ask the question, am I really love? And see what the answer is. It seems to me that A Course in Miracles is suggesting that the only reason why God would do this, or the child of God, as the Course would say, because the mother can't do this, she's the source of everything and remains eternal, that the only reason why the child would do this is out of that feeling of unworthiness. If we, the child, believed that we did something wrong, then there would be that uncertainty. Perhaps we would feel the need to ask ourselves, am I really love? Is that really what I am? I don't know anymore, because I feel like I did something bad and I feel unworthy. A Course in Miracles suggests that the very search is fruitless and pointless and only leads to suffering, and that to give it up is to forgive everything. It's basically declaring that none of it happened. It is withdrawing all faith and belief in any form whatsoever, in any sort of limitation or frailty, and to invite all the seeming shards of God to do the same, to convince them also that there's no point in pushing deeper into the illusion and exploring further. The only exploring worth doing is detecting where the resistance still is and healing it. The only exploration left to do is healing, offering love where love is being asked for. If I may say, in terms of science, A Course in Miracles' message is, give up this mortal illusion. It is doomed to entropy and the cold death of the universe. Withdraw your faith in it and come home. Everything you build is just going to die. You're just building sandcastles that are going to be destroyed by the incoming tide. Not everybody's ready for a message like that. And indeed, the ego hates this message. The ego wants us to find glory in the idea of acquiring things in form, which include people, a certain special someone, a beloved, the idea being which that if we have that, we will feel complete. And the Course says it is not so. You will never be content with anything that you can find in form anywhere. The only contentment to be found there is in offering healing and blessing where it is needed and where it is asked for. A Course in Miracles also tells us that it is fruitless to try and gain skills, talents, abilities. In our completion, we have no need of such things. They are games that we play in the games of limitation. The only reason it seems like we can't do everything is because we are not healed yet. It is our insanity that we hide from ourselves, our own omnipotence. And so when we seem to be gaining skills and abilities, it's a dropping of the resistance to them that is actually happening. A Course in Miracles reminds us that we are already joined. We're just hiding from ourselves that we are. And when we are aware of our joining, all of the gifts that any one seems to possess will be shared by all. Does this bother our ego? Perhaps it does. Oh, poor fragile ego. So wanting to be special, unique, individual. The Holy Spirit, love, is so kind to us and provides us each a very special role in the plan of salvation that only we can fill, such that our desire for specialness is satisfied. The good news is, if you realize, like I do, that you are still very much attached to form and addicted to it, oh yes, I very much am aware that I am, we still have a lot of healing to do. As long as there's healing to do, as long as there are elements of insanity, as long as there are slaves to be freed, the illusion will continue to exist. And it will be less painful the more we heal it. Isn't that something to look forward to? The trip home will be more pleasant. It will be a healing. It will be a beautiful, happy ending. There is a French word, denouement, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, that refers to the part of a movie after the happy ending that just kind of expands on how everyone is enjoying their happy ending, and all of these happy little resolutions and details to delight the viewer who's been through the catharsis. Dénouement is the French word, which means the untying. It makes me think of that book, The Disappearance of the Universe, that I've mentioned before, that was written as a companion to A Course in Miracles, which speaks of forgiveness as an undoing of our belief in sin, of our belief in the illusion, and it allows things to disappear. And as part of the gentleness of the Holy Spirit, we're not just left with a blank hole in the place where something was. No, the Holy Spirit gives us a more pleasant dream. As long as we need form, we will have form. It will just be more pleasant, more beautiful, more and more heavenly, the more we heal. So we have a lot to look forward to. Form isn't just going to suddenly disappear. As long as we have nostalgia for it, it's going to be here. By the time it's time for it to be done, we will be begging for it to be done because we won't need it or want it anymore. I can't wrap my mind around wanting that. I just take it on faith that when we're at that stage, that's how we'll feel. The idol is here to distract us from the reason we don't feel whole. The reason we don't feel whole is we think we sinned. This goes back to the Course explaining to us our origin story was that we thought up the separation and we thought we made it real. We didn't. We just dreamed that we did. And the Course tells us that if it were real, sin would be eternal and there would not be a way to be absolved of it. That's why we feel so bad, because I think deep down we know that you can't fix sin if it's real. What makes sin not real? The fact that we're all omnipotent, that the fact that we experience ourselves as frail and weak and capable of being hurt is an illusion. When we withdraw faith in it, all the consequences, all the seeming consequences of having been hurt disappear and our foolishness. For example, this is just an example. It doesn't hurt you if somebody takes scissors to one of your hair strands and cuts it. You can imagine that it hurts. And you can imagine that if somebody cut your hair and it caused you pain, that you experienced deep trauma around it. But when you realized that you don't experience pain around it, and that was just pretend, it was just an illusion, then there's no point in being upset about a strand of hair being cut. I use that example because that's something that we don't feel pain around happening. I guess the only remaining problem is if we had some vanity attachment to our hair being a certain way, or some feeling about our sovereignty and it's wrong for somebody to cut our hair without our say-so. But again, all of these things are part of the illusion that is inherent in form. The moment you have form, you can conceive of vulnerability, because it's limitation. That's what it is. That's what makes it form. One might say that the first step is to stop seeing it as a battlefield. On a battlefield, your own skin is in the game. You personally can be killed and wounded, but to step back and see it as a game. In a game, it's your pieces on the playing board that get hurt. You might get upset when it looks like you're losing the game or something like that, but you're not personally dying and having your body torn apart. You're much more removed. So seeing the illusion as a game is a step closer than seeing it as life or death, but it's still not there yet. You can still have strong feelings about being invested in the game and having it go a certain way. But if all you want out of the game is just to love everyone and heal everyone and wake everyone up to that there's no death, there's no harm, there's no loss, that is a very happy game. And A Course in Miracles describes salvation as a happy game that children play who know that they are loved and safe and all is well. It is a happy game that we are being asked to play. Today we again review the question, what is sin? And the passage that answers the question that are found in show notes. And then we go on to lesson 254. Let every voice but God's be still in me. Mother, today I would but hear your voice. In deepest silence I would come to you, to hear your voice, and to receive your word. I have no prayer but this. I come to you to ask you for the truth. And truth is but your will. which I would share with you today. Today, we let no ego thoughts direct our words or actions. When such thoughts occur, we quietly step back and look at them, and then we let them go. We do not want what they would bring with them, and so we do not choose to keep them. They are silent now, and in the stillness, hallowed by her love, God speaks to us and tells us of our will, as we have chosen to remember her. I am reminded that the narrator of A Course in Miracles, who says that they had been the soul that was Jesus, said that in that life as Jesus, the very last lesson that they learned was to only hear the voice for God. And it is my personal belief that that is what happened at the end of the ordeal in the Garden of Gethsemane. The garden was the big ordeal, not the crucifixion. The crucifixion was a cakewalk, because that was when Jesus finally got it forever and ever and ever. Enlightenment, if you will, to only hear the voice for God. At that point, nothing that was happening in form mattered one whit to Jesus. There was no pain and no suffering. That was all left behind in the Garden of Gethsemane. Anyway, that's my personal belief and perspective on it. I invite you to explore it yourself and find what rings true in your heart. And happy practicing.